Happy 4th of July weekend, and whenever we think about July 4th, we think about independence, we think about freedom. So I just thought this weekend I'd talk to you about freedom and what it really means. Okay, when we think about freedom today, so many times people define it as being free, doing what I want, how I want, when I want, at whatever cost it might take. Is that really what we mean by freedom? Okay, that's what we have to work for today. First of all, I want to ask you a question. How risky are you? Okay? Just say somebody comes up to you and gives you $10,000. $10,000. Can't spend it, you have to invest it. How risky are you? Conservative? Moderate, or are you going to go for it? We call it aggressive. How risky are you? God's risky. Think about the story of Jesus. Jesus rises, he ascends, he gets to heaven. The angels say, you did such a good job down there. Who's going to do your work? And Jesus says, I left 12 men. And they say, those guys? Huh? It's risky. But that risk paid off. Okay? Now, God made a moral universe, everyone. And what we mean by a moral universe is a universe in which man and woman make choices. We have acts. We make choices through our acts. And through this moral universe, God made us free. Okay? And when we think about this, everyone, God could have created us in any way he wanted us, but he wanted us to choose him. Here's the risk on God's part. We could choose to reject God. That's risky, but we could. Think back to the original sin. Remember the story of Adam and Eve? God says, Adam and Eve, you can eat from any tree you want. Any tree of life, except for one. The tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Okay? It's that simple. Then all of a sudden, who comes along? Satan comes along, and this is the way Satan sounds. Oh, Adam and Eve, don't worry about it. Don't listen to God. We know if you eat, you won't die. You will be free. Well, what happens? This is what happens. Parents, do you ever tell your children not to do something and they do it? Don't play with matches. And you go, kid pulls out matches, strikes a match, burns his hand, burns a finger. You come home and what do? This is what they do. I'll show you right here. This is what they do. They hide. Kid goes, you as a parent say, what'd you do? And you sit there as a kid and you say, how'd you figure it out? People, it's the way it was in the beginning. This is what Adam and Eve did. Remember? God says, what did you do? You're hiding. And all of a sudden, the great liberator, Satan, oh, don't worry about it. You won't die. You'll be free. All of a sudden, turns it 180. And now what does he says? Oh, now there's no hope for you. All is despair. There's something wrong there. Something wrong. Okay? So when we talk about freedom, remember, Adam and Eve were given certain principles. You can eat from these trees, but not here. We're given principles too. Commandments, beatitudes, golden rule, greatest commandment of do's and don'ts. And God gives us these things not because he has something against us and not because he doesn't trust us. Let me give you another example. You buy a vehicle. And what does the salesperson do once you buy it? They take you out and they show you the different features that you have. Okay? OnStar, rear camera, etc., etc., etc. They're really good. They'll pull out the manual and they say, I want you really to specifically look at the manual, but read here, here, here. Tells you how much pressure you're supposed to have in your tire, what size tires you're supposed to have, how much oil for your crankcase, what kind of fuel to put in it. Okay? But after that, you're free. If you want, everyone, you can put perfume in your gas tank. You're free. Okay? But you know something, if you do that, not only is your car not going to start, you're going to do damage to it. Why does a salesperson sit there and say, here they are, the do's and the don'ts, not because they have something against you, not because they don't trust you, but because of this. They want the best for you in that vehicle. Now, why did God give us a list of do's and don'ts? Here you are, here you're not. Do this, don't do this. Not because he's against us, not because he doesn't trust us, but because he says if you follow this, you will be free. I'm God. I should know. You're human. You don't know. Here it is, and you will be free. Okay? Now, I hope we can hear the subtle voice of Satan at work in our subtle society today, media today, our neighbors, even sometimes our fellow Catholics. This is what Satan says today. Oh, you Catholics. If you're tired on Sunday morning, don't worry about it. Don't worry about going to church. Oh, you Catholics. You're teaching on birth control and contraception. Just do it. It'll make you free. In the meantime, I got people that come into my office that are pregnant or have a disease. Oh, you Catholics. What's wrong with you, you fuddy-duddies? You're behind the time. Let anybody get married. Oh, you guys. Your wife isn't giving you everything that you need. Go out and have a fling. You're free. Well, that's what happened. And what were the consequences? I'll give you a few. God says, Adam and Eve, okay, you made your choice, you made your bed. Because of this, from now on, mothers, there will be pain in childbearing. Let me ask you this, is there? Yes or no? Men, from now on, it's not going to be as easy as just going up to a tree and pick it. From now on, you will toil, you will sweat. Men, is that true? It's true. Here's what's fascinating today. Not only are men sweating and toiling for work, so are the women of society today too, to earn a living. You know, it reminded me the other day, consequences. I was out taking apart a grill, and it was a nice day out, but mosquitoes were just crazy. You take a screw out, you're going bang, smash, boom, like this. And thinking about this homily, I thought back, do you think this is the way it was in the beginning in the garden? By golly, it wasn't. And so, everyone, I hope you realize the simple fact of this. The more you abuse God's commandments, his freedom, the less free you will be. It's happened. Childbearing, mosquitoes, beasts turn wild. That serpent, you can't talk to a serpent today. What do they do? Things changed. Okay? Things changed. Now, I'm not done with this. I'm going to come back to this again next week. Okay? I got a few more things to say about it, but that's enough for today. In the meantime, in the week ahead, think about your choices. Think about it. Okay? Think about your actions. And ask yourself, is this the voice of God or is this the voice of Satan? Okay? Do that. Okay? We'll come back to it again next week, but in the meantime, think about your actions, think about your choices, and remember, only in God do we find true freedom.